Game of Roses. This is Pacecase.
This is Bachelor Clues, and it's Friday, which means this is This Week in Bachelor Nation. We're going to be breaking down all the news. We're going to be breaking down the top 5 parasocial plays from the past week. We're going to be screaming from the pit about how our fandom of this game and all reality television really has drastically affected our lives and changed us into different people from the ones we used to be just 5 years ago before we began this podcast.
It's hard to say. Very hard to say.
Just different.
Different. And this is our first Twibbin since we took our little vacation. So a lot to cover.
Yeah, Pacecase, you have some big news.
I do have some big news. Did I not talk about this already?
I don't know. I don't know if you've officially done it on the podcast.
All right. Well, in case I haven't, your girl's engaged. Got that sparkler. I'm a ring winner or a
Congratulations.
bachelorette who has chosen a ring winner. That's probably more apt. I'm the bachelorette.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Even though he gave you the ring, he's your ring winner.
He gave me the ring, but he's my ring winner.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
I don't know how he sees it, but thank you.
You'll make him see it like that. Congratulations.
We'll see whose last name, wins out.
Indeed. Well, that's some big news. Obviously, we have some other big news. We're still looking for those screeners. I don't know if that's big news or not, but please, we've got a week left.
That's a lack of news.
Yeah.
We have a week until the show starts. If you have those screeners and you've just been holding out till now, now's your time to shine and be a hero.
Absolutely. Please help us. And
also, my other podcast, HBO Lacks, Bit of Business, we have just started House of the Dragon Season 2 and The Bear Season 3.
I watched that.
So go check that out. HBO Lacks.
We'll probably be discussing that in What Are You Watching in this very episode.
Oh, great. You caught up?
Yeah, I've seen the first 2 eps.
Go. Great.
We'll discuss. And we're going to have State of the Game. There was a big LA Times article that came out about producers kind of finally taking accountability a little bit for the racist casting practices that have been in place in the Bachelor franchise for the last forever. So
since 2002.
Yeah, we'll be covering that. But before we get to any of that, as some of you may know, I've been creating a country album that, as Pacecase put it just 2 nights ago, is Bachelor coded. And I think that is the exact correct way to describe this. It's a Bachelor coded country album.
Mm-hmm.
That
It's
I've been
giving
making.
Bachelor.
It's definitely giving Bachelor. And today I wanted to premiere another song for everybody. This album's going to probably have like 8 to 10 songs on it, I would say. I have almost all of them done. And this is one that I wrote basically as a tribute to who I believe is the greatest player in the history of our beloved game, Nick Viall. Moines ain't there yet. If Moines gets the crown, then we can have that conversation.
I was just trying to prod you a little bit.
Thank you.
You tried to play this song for me on the last episode, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was on the live.
It was during our live.
I couldn't get it. It was,
right.
But now you have sent me the file, so
Yes.
I'm very excited.
So this song is called How Could You, in parentheses, Make Love to Me, in parentheses, Nick's song. It's in reference to a line that he said to Andy Dorfman at the After the Final Rose. And the actual line, I think, is something like, I just don't understand why you made love to me if you weren't in love with me. That's, I think, verbatim what he said. I've taken some liberty with that to make it more melodic. And he also said, you took things from me at one point. Just keep that in mind. All right. Are you ready for the world premiere Pacecase of How Could You Make Love to Me, a.k.a. Nick's song?
I mean, just the title alone, I want to give it a Grammy, but yes, I'm ready.
All right. This is the world premiere. I'm going to play the song now.
Both knew you were seeing other guys, so why did you tell so many lies? We both agreed that we'd be honest. I couldn't see through your pretty disguise, the way you wear those jeans and bat those eyes. You said you'd protect my heart, but you broke your promise. How could you make love to me if you weren't in love with me? Were you just playing a game? How could you make love to me and then just break up with me? Is it you or myself I should blame? When did you know I wasn't the one? Was it all for show? Did you have your fun? I thought I was gonna give you a ring. You left me feeling empty and broken inside, and I think you took me for one hell of a ride. And I gotta ask you one last thing. How could you make love to me if you weren't in love with me? Were you just playing a game? How could you make love to me and then just break up with me? Is it you or myself I should blame? How could you make love to me if you weren't in love with me? Were you just playing a game? How could you make love to me and then just break up with me? Is it you or myself I should blame? You took things from me. You took things from me. Ooh, you took things from me.
Wowie. I don't know if you can see this through the
Yeah.
Zoom. I have literal chills on my arm.
Yeah.
Chills. You took things from me, I think. That line really gave things to me.
It
I
took
think
things
that was
from
my favorite
others
part.
and gave them to you.
But the chorus is so good. You took things
Thank
from
you.
me.
I'm getting very good at
I mean,
using these new tools to make music. I'll say that much. The tools that are now
Yeah.
emerging in the world of really all media creation, but music is getting really good, are the things I have been waiting for since I was about 10 years old, where now I can just get everything in my head out quickly, efficiently, in a high level of quality, I feel like. So that album,
I mean, this is the highest level of quality ever. This is going to chart.
we'll see.
Clues?
We'll see. With the help of Bachelor Nation, that album is going to come out, if I have my way, 1 week from today. It's going to be across all platforms, Spotify, etc. And I'll be dropping that in my social
have my
media.
way, what
etc.
do you mean?
If I can produce these songs with the amount of other work
finish.
that I have to do
Yeah,
by the time
okay.
it comes out, it may just be a matter of like, well, screw it. I've got 8 songs. That's the album. I'm not sure. I have 3 songs that I still want to make. I don't know if I'm going to have time to get to all of them before this album is due to come out. I'm trying to get it out
Gotcha.
next Friday.
Not like someone's preventing you from posting your music.
No,
Except
no.
for yourself.
That's the beauty of the world we live in now. You don't need a record label. You don't even need a singer. You don't even need a
You don't even need a
studio.
singer.
You don't need anything except a song in your head and the ability to write good lyrics. That's all you need, and you can make songs. That's where we're at.
Well, this song is perfect.
Thank you.
I had high expectations based on the title, but
Yeah.
after listening to it, I'm like, I literally have chills. I'm like, this is
That's the
so
song that
good.
gave you chills as a Nick
song.
Viall tribute to his How Could
Well,
You Make
no.
Love to Me?
the first song that gave me chills was the one you did of Madison Pruitt, which I have not gotten out of my head.
Well, we'll get to that in
I'm happy
screams,
for you.
rest assured. But that's our business. Now we're going to move
title,
on
I
to the
think.
main body of this episode. We're going to start as we always start with Game of Roses. State of the game. All right, this week, a huge article came out in the LA Times written by Greg Braxton, who's the senior writer and culture and representation coverage person at the Los Angeles Times. It is an article all about how The Bachelor has been, in the past, very racist in their casting practices. And they interviewed Claire Freeland and Bennett Graebner, who are essentially showrunners of the current Bachelor franchise. And they kind of started to take accountability for the casting practices of the past. After they appeared, this article is all in reference to their appearance at a panel during the Television Critics Association Winter Press Tour in February, where they were asked, why does it seem that The Bachelor and Bachelorette have such a hard time dealing with racial issues in depth, by NPR's television critic Eric Degens? And instead of answering that question, they tried to dodge it. But when Degens pressed them for a real answer, they just sat in silence for many seconds, and Degens finally said, well, I guess we have our answer. So now, several months later, we're days away from the premiere of Bachelorette Season 21 with Jenn Tran as what the LA Times is calling the first Asian lead of the franchise. It seems that the producers are at least trying to present a united front of accountability, with Graebner going on record saying, quote, it's hard to say out loud that people of color didn't see themselves represented, that they did not see the Bachelor franchise as a safe place. We didn't have a black lead in the franchise for 15 years, and that's inexcusable. It created a vicious cycle, and it's taken a lot of work to get back to a place where we feel at least we're working for the positive.
This article goes on to discuss how the producers felt like they had let Matt James down in Bachelor Season 25 when he was tapped to be the first Black Bachelor. Of that season, Graebner said, I'm going to be really frank, we let Matt down. That season went wrong on so many levels. We did not protect him as we should have. The finale of that season was the darkest day I've had on this franchise. Here was this great Black man, and we should have been celebrating his love story. Instead, what we saw was a man burdened and overwhelmed by issues of racism. It was really sad for me personally.
The article concludes with Claire Freeland saying they are moving the franchise in a new direction with more racial diversity, and she makes a final closing statement to the fourth audience, that's us, sitting at home watching the show. She says, we can't change the minds of people who aren't interested in this new direction. What we have the power to do is change the program. There's a reason why this show has been around for 20 years. The dream and desire for true love will never go out of style. We hope that people can look at the last couple of years and see that we are intending and taking steps to make the change. Now, this is, in my opinion, a far cry from not that long ago when Chris Harrison, the now exiled former host of the Bachelor franchise, was on a red carpet and asked point blank about, why is there no Black Bachelor? And he kind of sidesteps the issue and says, well, we haven't found the right one. To me, it's not about color. It's about finding the good Bachelor. And if they happen to be Black, great. I believe we have that clip.
He references Rachel Lindsay.
Yeah.
If you want to Google this on YouTube, it's Chris Harrison talks about possibility of a Black Bachelor, red carpet, and award shows.
Or if you want to see that clip, here it is right now.
Well, I have a selfish question for you because as a viewer, I do watch the show, but I'm wondering, I know you guys had an African-American bachelorette. Do you think there will ever be a Black Bachelor?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. No reason not to. And it's just, my thing has always been for Rachel. I'm glad that Rachel wasn't the first Black Bachelorette. I'm glad that she was the right woman. She was this extraordinary woman, smart, beautiful, charismatic, funny, all those things. She's an amazing woman. That's what I want. Same thing for a man. And when we do have, and we will, I just want it to be a great man and a good man.
Okay.
And if he happens to be Black, great.
Y'all might have to go to Inglewood. Y'all might have to go to Atlanta, hit up Detroit. Can we expand this search? Because I need a Black Bachelor. I need him.
Bring us
Can I
one.
help?
Bring us one.
Okay. Deal?
Single.
I'll look for one.
All right.
Well, I can't guarantee he's single, Chris.
We need all the help we can get.
So that was Chris Harrison talking about how they kind of used to view race in the franchise. We now have on record the two people who are running the whole ship in the LA Times apologizing for the past practices, apologizing specifically for the disastrous Bachelor Season 25 that was Matt James' season, and saying they are steering it in a new direction, and if the audience doesn't like that, too bad. I think this is... I don't know if they're going to get there. I'll say that. There's definitely still a huge difference when you watch a Bachelor franchise show versus a Love is Blind or a Perfect Match, anything on Netflix, in terms of racial representation, in terms of how those relationships are treated. all of that. That said,
in terms of which love stories you're focusing on,
yeah,
you can cast whoever you want, but are they actual contenders? Are they actual parts of love stories?
right. And that goes down to the producers. Who are the producers choosing to keep in the game longer? How are they choosing to portray these people? That said, this is, at least in my memory, the biggest step forward the Bachelor franchise has ever taken. Not just in casting Jenn, but in the way they're trying to present how they will show her in the show. The whole thing that Bennett Graebner is talking about, that they didn't feel like Matt James was protected. Regardless of race, he's the lead of your show. All leads must always be protected. And to admit the fact that they didn't do it in a critical season like that with your first Black Bachelor, I think it's in a level of accountability that they have never really presented before.
No. If they have, it's always a direct response to being attacked by someone.
Yes.
Or a direct response. They cast Matt James. They just posted his picture the week after Black Lives Matter and Bachelor So White is trending. It's been kind of this reflexive response to what the fourth audience is saying and the controversies, etc. For me when I saw this article, I was shocked.
Same.
That they're just coming out and saying this. And, we've talked about this category a lot. And in the article, they talk also about how they feel they've somewhat failed Jenn Tran in that there's not very many Asian men cast this season. Whether that's because they were cast for a different crown, perhaps, or not. I think them going on record and saying this in a, newspaper of note is very important.
But I think it's also important to note that this is coming, again, almost in reaction to that thing they did at the TCAs.
Right.
Where they were asked point blank, what's the deal with your racism? And they were just blinking into space. So I do think that there's an element, for sure, everything they've said in this article has been written for them by ABC and Warner Brothers promotions people. All of this has been checked and cleared, and this is the party line. You will say this.
No one's improving on behalf of The Bachelor ever again after the Chris Harrison scandal.
The LA Times didn't just call up Bennett Graebner and Claire Freeland and be like, hey, can we interview you real quick? This is all set up by ABC. This is all it's not paid, but it's hey, we have this season coming out. It's Jenn Tran, the first Asian lead, and we need to get ahead of the racism controversy. That, though, isn't a bad thing, I think, that ABC and Warner Brothers are telling them what to say.
Do you think it's ahead of them getting attacked based on the casting of this season?
Yes. Not getting attacked, but I think there's going to be controversy about the player pool no matter what. Because of we all know that Daisy said she didn't want the crown. We know Maria had it for a minute and then didn't. So we know that the season was cast for Maria. We know that. They're trying to kind of sidestep that, I think, a little bit. But also it shows that they're thinking about this in a different way. On Matt James' season, there was no article like this before that season came out. There was just the season where they cast somebody in that season from a sundown town or sundown county who winds up winning the whole show, and then it results in what it results in. The antebellum pictures coming out, Chris Harrison going on Extra with Rachel Lindsay, Chris Harrison issuing the pre-written apology to Michael Strahan on Good Morning America, and everything that happened after it. It was
the way they portrayed Matt James's dad that season. Yeah. I mean, it's an argument for the darkest season.
I agree. But this shows that they're at least thinking about these things in a way that is about kind of how does this affect the whole franchise and what direction are we moving in? That final statement in this from Claire Freeland saying basically look, we can't control how the audience is going to react. All we can control is what's in the show. And what's going to start being in the show is more diversity. That's basically what they're saying in every level, how we represent it, and how it's cast.
It's opposite of the party line before, which was, I always think about this Chris Harrison clip where he's asked about this and he's like, well, it's about finding the right person, just like Rachel Lindsay, as if they hadn't had qualified bachelors of color before that.
Of course. It's absurd. It's an absurd argument. Yeah. And that used to be the party line of the show. He was the mouthpiece of the show. Send him on the red carpet. That's what he says about race in the franchise. Send him in front of Rachel Lindsay. That's what he says about racing the franchise. Send him in front of Michael
Yeah.
Strahan. That's what he says. And so that was kind of the narrative of the show coming through Chris Harrison. It is very different now. And notice also, Jesse Palmer's not in this article. They're not using the host as the mouthpiece for the show anymore. Now it's the two people running the
Too
show.
dangerous.
I don't...
Too hard to replace.
Maybe, but like if either one of these producers would have said anything bad, they can replace them. I think it still would have been a big
That's what I
fallout.
mean. I'm saying they can more easily replace producers than Jesse. I love to see this. I love that they are taking it head on, and it is so different to go from we're just giving people the Bachelor they want and catering to the audience versus we're going to make the show we want and the audience can cater to us, because there's kind of an aggressive, statement in here, like get behind us or like leave.
Yeah.
I just saw Jenn Tran is also not backing down from this as well. She just posted a reel that was like, when people are demanding, why can't we have an American Bachelorette? And she's responding to it with these like TikToks.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
Bachelor Nation is what it is, but this is also part of this is tied to the fact that Bachelor, of all the big reality shows that we're all watching, Bachelor is really, at least in the dating space, the only one still on network TV. All the rest of these shows are on streaming platforms, which are younger platforms. They have younger audiences. And I think there is still this mentality.
They can say swears.
They can say swears, a lot more nudity, et cetera, et cetera.
Hook up.
But the people that watch network television, by and large, are an increasingly older, wider audience, because who even has cable anymore? You're not tuning into ABC to watch this. Most people, I think, of a certain age range under, let's say, 50, are watching it on Hulu. You know what I mean? So we're seeing that kind of become a part of this too. And I think when you look at those metrics, or at least when ABC does, they are just thinking about money, and nothing else matters. And so they're like, if our audience is all 50-year-old white people, that's what we should have on the show. Hence Golden Bachelor as well, That said, I agree with what Claire Freeland is saying in this. If you build the right show, the audience will come. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like an old way of thinking, that it's like, well, it's network TV and this is who watches network TV. I just think it's like an antiquated way of thinking. And I'm glad that they're turning this corner. Seemingly, it's what they're saying publicly. We will see. The proof will be in the pudding. And Jenn Tran's season, I think, is going to be a great indicator to see how they present her and how really everyone is presented on this season. But I'm excited
if
for
they
it.
present her any less than the way they presented Joey and then the way they presented Charity, which I don't think they will. I think the promo is giving, we're keeping our leads elevated from now on. We see that's actually good for the show.
Yes. Astoundingly. It only took them really since season 18 of The Bachelor to figure out, like, oh, wait a minute. People want to like the main character of your show. Huh.
Oh, we want people rooting for them to find love.
Yeah.
Huh.
People watch this thing
that's
where
weird.
we
That's
send
suspicious.
people going all over the world to have these incredible dates. People want to live out their fantasies vicariously through them, and they want to see people having fun on TV. Huh. Unfortunately,
Right? It's supposed to be fun.
yeah, Bachelor in Paradise is the casualty there, because that show was never about making people have fun. It was about destroying people's lives, and it's canceled now. And I mean, my personal projection for that is bye-bye forever. I don't think it's ever coming back. I think Perfect Match has just gobbled it. It just took the audience.
I was trying to disagree with you, but now I'm on episode 3 of Perfect Match, and it's so much more modern and fun and just a better show in every way that it's like,
I know.
Even if you rebrand, it can't compete at this point.
I agree.
But
and I think
I want them to rebrand and try.
I want them to as well. But if Bachelor producers were smart, the first thing you strike from the current Bachelor contract is the 2-year period that comes after the air date of your season's final episode. For that next 2 years, every player, if they want to do any kind of media appearance, this is everything from a podcast to going on some other show, you have to get approval from the producers, ABC, Warner Brothers, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, this prohibits them from going on any other show. That's a mistake.
Yeah.
You should strike that from the contract immediately, and you should start pumping Bachelor players through Perfect Match. You need to get them in Perfect Match.
Get them in perfect match. I think that, we're able to get some huge heavy hitters from Netflix to interview way before we're able to get Bachelor people. And we're theoretically a mainly Bachelor podcast, I agree with you. I think the second thing I would strike would be the individual entrances.
Yeah.
Don't just have them all start at the same time. Do not Alexa Ray Case anyone ever again.
I agree. But that wraps up the state of the game, at least on paper. The producers here are good on paper, as they say. They're good in paper, in the Los Angeles Times.
It's giving good on paper.
But we'll see if their words mean anything as Jenn Tran's season is set to unfold here in one short week on July 8th. We'll be covering, of course, every episode of it right here on Game of Roses. Now, let's move on to our next portion of today's program, where Pacecase and I discuss how we're staying sane in the off-season. This is... What are you watching?
What are you watching?
Pacecase, what do you got? What are you watching?
I just completed Bridgerton Season 3, which, opens up a spot for me to watch Outlander. So, exciting for both of us. House of the Dragon Season 2 premiered the first 2 episodes, and we have the premiere of The Bear last night, Season 3.
Oh, that started?
And, yeah, they dropped all 10 episodes last night.
What?
Yeah, I know. We're covering them week to week.
Why?
I know. Exactly. It's dumb. But the first episode is really good, and I'm very curious
I gotta get
what
back
you
into that
think
show.
of it.
I didn't know that it had
It's
come out
kind of
yet.
artistic. It's
Well,
an
I mean,
artistic first episode, I
Everything
would say.
is in that show.
Yeah, but this one I think goes to another level.
All right.
And I'm also watching, I started trying to watch Perfect Match by myself.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I saw the intro where Dark Lord Nick Lachey is like in a robe and dives into the cenote, I was like, I closed it. I was like, I have to watch Chad watch this now. Like, I can't. So I'm on episode 3 of watching you watch Perfect Match.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. For anybody else who wants to watch me watch Perfect Match, go to patreon.com/gameofroses. Check it out in Clues Corner. I loved this season of Perfect
It's
Match.
so good.
Yeah.
This season is amazing.
I agree.
I'm loving Harry and I'm loving Tolu so far. Those are my 2 kind of standouts.
Yeah, me too.
I'm
Jess
up to the
also.
point where Micah and her I can't
Kaz.
even remember what her partner's
Kaz
name,
Bishop.
Kaz, are there in the boardroom. That's where I'm
Okay,
at.
nice. Well, those are good shows. I watched the first 2 episodes of House of the Dragon.
Yay!
And my main complaint with it is, in these first 2 episodes, it seems like doing assassinations of the pinnacle level person in any of these families is a matter of just walking into the castle and doing it. Mm-hmm. No one has ever stopped. We had 2 assassination attempts, 1 successful on the heir of the biggest family throne in the realm, the kingdom, whatever the fuck.
I mean, it wasn't successful. They had a different target.
Okay, sure. And then the other one was inches away from success.
And people were banging. That's the part I was saying was sort of the loose explanation, is that Kriston was supposed to be watching, but he was banging Allison.
And by the way,
So
if you want to talk about sex scenes, House of the Dragon is Mr. Rogers compared to what I'm watching, which is now Outlander Season 3. We've moved on. We got through the doldrums
Rogers.
of the first half of Outlander Season 2. The back half of it really picked up, and now we're into Season 3. We just got, look, spoiler alert.
what? No.
Season 3 is like 10 years old.
But I'm gonna start season 1.
Okay.
Wait,
You'll
you should do
forget
a
this.
scream about your Outlander things. I will forget it because I've already forgotten the spoilers you've done for me on Perfect Match.
Last night, we just got to the part where Claire time travels back and finds Jamie in his print shop, and he turns around and passes out from overstimulation,
Horniness.
excitement, surprise, horniness, basically. Yeah, I know next episode is just going to be an hour of fucking. There's no way it's not.
Yeah.
There's no way it's not. We've already
They
seen that
fluffed
happen
their
multiple
audience
times.
in this
They
one.
did.
I love that.
They did. Like, there's no way episode 4 of season 3 is not literal 1 hour of pornography. It's coming.
I cannot wait. I my main complaint with Bridgerton season 2 was not enough sex. Season 3, they did increase it, but it sounds like they're nowhere near Outlander.
Nothing
So
I've ever
got
seen
to
is near
watch
Outlander.
that.
I've seen a lot of TV and a lot of movies. Nothing I have ever seen is like Outlander in terms of its sexual content, the graphicness of
True
it,
Blood?
the amount of not even True Blood is a joke. True Blood is romper room for those who remember compared to Outlander. The graphic nature of the sex in Outlander. I mean, it's pornographic. You see these are main characters.
Full penetration?
God, not quite. That's where it stops. But everything else, you see literal like mouths on nipples and stuff. These are actors engaging.
They do that in Bridgerton.
Do they really?
You see mouth on nip, yeah.
Well, I would encourage you to watch Outlander, and you tell me. I'll say this:
All
at
right.
the end of
I
season 1 of
will.
Outlander, there is a sexual assault that is incredibly graphic, but it's also kind of
What season?
1.
Okay.
Just trigger warning, but I think you'll watch it
Yeah, I'll
anyway.
just fast forward.
I don't think you can, and I don't think you will, because you'll be very engrossed in
Oh
it.
my god. Okay.
Because it's
You don't
not
tell
just
me
like
what I'll fast forward and what I won't.
it's tied into the plot and the characters and stuff so well that you like have to watch it to know the details of it
Okay.
because it affects things plot wise. don't know how
I
else to say it.
We recently got a review for HBO Max, which was just like it's two horny stoners watching TV shows. And I was like, oh, horniness, I guess, is we do give a most horniest moment of the week. But that's when the show is being horny.
Oh, I see.
But this is making me think we really need to get into Outlander.
Yeah, I think Outlander is probably the perfect show for HBO Max, to be honest.
Perfect.
They made it
I
for
mean,
you guys.
It's less in the zeitgeist than I think we would
Yeah.
want, as you're the only person watching it. But
That's not true.
as long as I have someone to talk to about it.
It has a huge following, highly engaged.
Wait, you have to issue the scream about the Outlander merch.
Oh, I believe I already discussed this at some point.
Oh,
but-
you did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Basically, I
Never
found
mind.
that Outlander has collectible trading cards, some of which include little like swatches of their wardrobes and stuff. Couldn't believe it. And I have some, but they're from
Amazing.
season 5, so I haven't opened them yet. Once I watch
Yeah,
season
no
5, I will
spoilers of
open
the
the cards. All right. That's what we're watching. It's time now to move on to the next portion of our program where we're talking about all those luscious tids that are fit to print.
This is Bachelor Nation News.
First up in Bachelor Nation News, Jenn Tran was on Call Her Daddy. First up, our incoming season 21 Bachelorette Jenn Tran was the featured guest on an episode of Call Her Daddy this week to promote her upcoming season. Tran covered a wide array of topics with Alex Cooper, including some of the backlash about her selection as the next Bachelorette, and claims that she was a last-minute replacement.
Tran said, obviously, I was really disappointed to see all of that because the truth of the matter is there's a lot of narratives out there and they're not necessarily the truth. The show has been going on for years and years, 21 years of this show specifically, and every season there are multiple people in contention for the role. Multiple people are being interviewed or doing meetings about it, all doing fittings or filming intro packages. It's never really you until it's you. That's why I was a little disappointed.
She also clarified what the Bachelorette selection process actually entailed, emphasizing that it was anything but last minute. Tran explained that she was in talks and negotiations to wear the crown for months leading into the final decision.
In the past few years, Call Her Daddy has routinely ranked as the number 2 podcast on Spotify, second only to Joe Rogan. Tran is the 4th player from Bachelor Nation to have appeared on the show, following Nick Viall and Natalie Joy, Colton Underwood, and Maria Georges. The fact that producers did not have Tran appear on the official Bachelor Nation podcast, Bachelor Happy Hour, to promote her upcoming season seems to be signifying a new understanding by the marketing team behind the franchise that they're finally realizing the importance of the podcast world as it relates to reality TV.
Congrats to Jen on this feather in her cap. And good luck in the upcoming watch back of Bachelorette Season 21. It's about to start. All these rookies are going to have to watch back their plays. It's coming. I can't wait.
I can't wait. And I screamed when I saw that Jenn Tran was doing this interview.
I know.
Happy for her, happy for the franchise,
Yes.
happy for Call Her Daddy, that it's becoming a version of Bachelor Happy Hour that has, to the nth degree, more listeners.
Yes.
I couldn't be happier.
I think it is so smart of the producers to be sending her there, and I hope that they do this with every lead for every incoming season to promote their season on the second biggest
100%.
podcast in the world.
Pay whatever you got to pay.
I agree. Moving on.
And I imagine it's mostly women listening. So it's
Yeah, I think so
literally
too.
the perfect audience.
I agree. Moving on. Next up in Bachelor Nation news, The Bachelor takes over the NHL. This week saw Game 7 of the NHL Championship Series to determine which team would take home the Stanley Cup. This is all hockey, for those who don't know these words I'm saying. While hockey fans saw the Florida Panthers defeat the Edmonton Oilers to take home professional hockey's biggest prize, Bachelor Nation fans saw
Stanley Cup.
The Stanley Cup. Bachelor Nation fans saw a star-studded cast of all-stars attending the big game, but Bachelor Nation weren't the only ones paying attention. The official NHL Instagram account posted a 4-slide main grid offering featuring Gore Girl Jason Tartick side-by-side with his new +1 comedian and influencer Kat Stickler, Traitors Season 2 standout and Season 24 Bachelor pilot Peter Weber, Canadian superstar Caitlin Bristow throwing a peace sign decked out in Edmonton gear, and the all-time male Bachelor IG champion Tyler Cameron was there sitting next to 1.6 million follower PGA golfer Justin Thomas.
This is huge for the NHL.
Huge for the NHL. To my knowledge, they didn't have any other posts like this that were like, look, here's all these people from a TV show. This was something a little different. Like, I don't know
Taking
exactly.
over Call Her Daddy. We're taking
Yeah.
over the NHL.
There's something, Bachelor is having a resurgence right now in
Yeah.
popular culture. It's like cool to have these people at your event. Whereas prior to that, not only would they not have been featured on the official NHL Instagram, they probably wouldn't have even been there unless they bought tickets of their own, you know?
No, you'd have to marry into the NHL to get your baby in
Yeah.
the Stanley Cup, like the Fergie twins.
Fergies, yeah.
Next up in Bachelor Nation news, Perfect Match renewed for season 3. Hell yes. As we are all still basking in the afterglow of the recently concluded Perfect Match season 2, Netflix has announced that their dating all-star format will return for a 3rd season next year.
Season 1 of Perfect Match featured 12 episodes. It came out February of 2023. Season 2 had only 10 episodes, and that obviously came out this month on June 7th with a staggered rollout.
The format has included all stars from the NRU, including feeder shows such as The Circle, The Mole, Too Hot to Handle, Love is Blind, Selling Tampa, Dating and Related, Surviving Paradise, Squid Game, The Challenge, The Trust, and Sexy Beasts.
One player from Sexy Beasts. Carousel.
Yeah.
Remember her?
But she did well.
What's that?
She did well, though.
Oh, yeah. She was one of the best players in season 1. As Perfect Match continues to dominate the all-star dating game space, there is still no word on the final fate of Bachelor in Paradise, which was not ordered for what would have been season 10 this year. We talked about this a little bit up top, but I don't see them pulling the trigger because what they're doing now is working. The ratings are going up on all these shows, and I think they're like, it's just kind of a it's
That's
a waste
our
of,
listen to your heart now.
Yeah, basically. I think that's what's happening.
I mean, I think there is still indefinitely a way to renew it.
Yeah.
But it would have to do a massive overhaul. You'd have to shoot it differently. You can't escape the comparisons with Love Island and Perfect Match at this point.
Exactly. That's what you're
So you
competing
have
with.
to step up and not be the worst of the 3.
I completely agree.
Dom is the only one from The Mole, right?
Yeah.
Has there been anyone else?
I think he's the
Oh,
only
wait,
one.
there was one blonde guy. There's one long-haired blonde guy from it, I think, season
in
1.
season 1? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to finish watching you watch Perfect Match this season
Enjoy.
and
Enjoy.
next.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited for this next piece of news.
Well, let's do it. Next up, this piece of news concerns one Harry Jowsey versus one Nicholas Viall. A new beef is brewing in the nation between two reality juggernauts after a recent episode of the Viall Files in which the greatest Bachelor player of all time, Nick Viall. Any objections to that statement?
Yes.
Overruled! After a recent episode of the Viall Files in which the greatest Bachelor player of all time, Nick Viall, was extremely critical of Harry Jowsey, going so far as to imply that he's a sociopath, somebody posted a comment on Instagram that read, "Mate, you're getting roasted by @Nick Viall. You should go on his podcast and do an interview." This comment caught Jowsey's attention and even elicited a response from the greatest male Instagram player in the NRU, Jowsey himself. His reply read,
Here's the comment. "Mate, you're getting roasted by Nick Viall. You should go on his podcast and do an interview." What's the response?
The response was, "He can't keep my dick out of his mouth. 50-year-old man gossiping about people in their 20s dating. He should be more focused on his wife cheating on him and repairing that than worrying about me." And a couple of crying, laughing emojis peppered throughout here. So Jowsey calling out his age, calling out his job, calling out rumors of Natalie Joy cheating on him here in plain view for everyone to see in text in this comment. Will this beef escalate? Will it prompt Viall to address the cheating rumors that Jowsey mentions? Will it result in Jowsey doing an interview with Viall? Time will tell on all of these issues.
You know, the only reason I can see him not escalating the beef is to further avoid the Joyelle rumors. Mm-hmm. But, you know, when you're talking about why this man, Nick, is still relevant, it's because of his beefs.
I agree.
He's constantly getting in rivalries with people who are in the news. And, you know, clicks get hits.
Yeah.
Or whatever they say.
Clicks get hits. That's a phrase. Sure. I'll buy it.
Yes. And yeah, the only reason I can think of not escalating is that rumor, but I hope it does because I want to see it. This comment, I if I was drinking something, I would have spit it out of my mouth when I read this comment. I was like, damn.
He just doesn't care.
Harry Jowsey is just so consistent with his just like no filter, just say whatever.
He goes
whatever
hard
you want,
as hell,
and it's entertaining
24/7, and that's why he's got 4.3 million Instagram followers. Nick Viall has 1.2, I think. He's virtually tripled his Instagram follower count. I don't know what the disparity is in their podcast listenership, but Jowsey's podcast, relatively new, is exploding because all he's doing is contradicting edits from Perfect Match and telling you, like, he had a thing where he was talking about how ITMs are made, and he literally is just telling you, like, producers try to manipulate you to get certain emotional responses out of you by themselves, kind of asking the questions in the emotion they want you to respond to. So if they want you to be excited, he's like, if they want you to be excited, they'd be like, "Hey, that challenge was so great, wasn't it? Didn't you have so much fun?" And then if they want you to be sad, they'll be like, "Oh, how do you feel about her breaking up with you?" Oh. That was my best Australian. I'm so sorry to anybody from Australia or who has anyone in their life from Australia.
I think that was right.
Oh.
Wait, he's Australian?
Jowsey? Holy shit. Moving on.
I thought he was British.
Oh my God.
Bad.
Okay.
Bad.
We have one more piece of news here for Bachelor Nation News this week, and it involves the Ultimate Viking Clayton Echard. He won his paternity case. The season 26 Bachelor was sued last August for paternity by Laura Owens, the daughter of longtime San Francisco radio personality Ron Owens.
Owens alleged she became pregnant with twins after a one-night stand with Echard. While Echard admitted he had been intimately involved with Owens, he denied ever having sexual intercourse with her.
Maricopa County Superior Court Judge Julie Mata ruled in Echard's favor, granting his petition for non-paternity and referring Owens for criminal prosecution for perjury and tampering with evidence to support her pregnancy claim.
Echard said he's the fourth person to face fraudulent paternity accusations from Owens. Owens, who says she miscarried the pregnancy she claimed was by Echard, denies that she has fabricated pregnancies.
Eckerd commented on the decision by saying, quote, "I'm certainly grateful for the ruling, but still a little wary because we do need the county attorney to prosecute her so that she faces these charges. That would finally stop her from doing this again," end quote. Congrats to Clayton on this decision and on finally putting this difficult ordeal behind him. I know also Dave Neal, friend of our podcast, he's been on our podcast many times, was also, I believe, sued by this same woman because he was simply reporting on this
For covering it.
event. So I assume that suit is either going to get dropped or thrown out or something of that nature as well. But congratulations to Ultimate Viking again in hopefully finally putting this legal ordeal behind him. And now let's move on to that next portion of our program where we talk about all the plays our favorite players are making off the field and on their telephones. This is
The Parasocial play of the week. We're almost in season, and therefore the Parasocial plays have been stepping it the F up. Voluntary full nudity player and wedding lifestyle extraordinaire Kenny Brash made a sentimental and hilarious Instagram story this week. He posted his and Mari's joint 10-slide Instagram anniversary post and posted commentary on it on his Instagram story reading, "At Bachelor in Paradise, 3 years ago today engaged, 1 year ago today married, parens, legally." Love that. And 3 years ago met at Thomas A. Jacobs. We recommend clicking through the entire 10 slides to get to this image, which is some sort of bobblehead version of Kenny and Mari's Adam and Eve leaf-taught outfits. Congrats to Brash and Pepin on their first anniversary, and congrats to Big Body for starring in this hilarious punchline.
We should also note that was number 5 of the top 5 Parasocial plays of the week. We're going to be counting these down 5 to 1, kind of like an ESPN top 10 plays of the week type deal. But I love to see here that he says 1 year ago today married, parentheses, legally, because we all remember last year was basically the year of Kenny Brash and Mari Pepin just getting married again and again
Getting
and
married
again.
every day.
They had 2 marriages off camera, 1 on camera. It was a wild year for them in terms of having marriages. Many more marriages than most couples ever have.
I love that. I think they should do more.
I agree.
Do a vow renewal at least. It's time.
Might as well. Do 3 of those. Put 1 of those on TV and 1 for friends, 1 for family, 1 for yourself. You should have 3 weddings. You should have 4 weddings and 4 vows renewals. 1 for friends, 1 for family, 1 for yourselves, 1 on camera. Minimum. Moving on. Our number 4 Parasocial play of the week is Let's Go! The Ultimate Viking himself, Clayton Eckerd, announced his new podcast, Beyond the Cover, following the end of his court battle with a very dramatic Instagram reel, perhaps made by the same content creator as the recent Viall Files promo videos. The caption reads, "New podcast dropping soon, real men having real conversations. This has been something that I've wanted to do." Oh shit, this is a long ass caption. This has been something that I've wanted to do for a long while. I thought it was just going to be new podcast dropping soon, real men, real conversations, but it's not. It goes on. "This has been something that I've wanted to do for a long while. I really do enjoy sharing my dancing journey with you all, and I love how people have observed the connection between dancing and my self-love and healing journey. But to be able to speak directly to mental health woes and further destigmatize the conversations around mental health, that is a venture that has always given me a strong sense of purpose."
He had to take a step aside to deal with the craziness of the last year, but now back to a clear mind. Excited to bring y'all on this impactful ride and share these strong and courageous men's stories. I would love to see, I don't think he has to give up dancing for this. I think you could do parasocial plays in which you're dancing while giving out mental health advice. And I think that's actually something that would do very well.
That's a new
2K
subgenre.
likes for this post.
Yeah. Waiting to be exploited.
98,000 views. Good job, Clayton.
Fantastic. Our number 3 Parasocial play of the week is Daddy Era. Unwell podcaster Alexander Cooper of Call Her Daddy threw out the first pitch at the Boston Red Sox, that's baseball, game. But more importantly,
Thank you.
No problem. She teamed up with her employee, Harold Jowsey. Is his real name Harold?
Noted Australian.
I think his real name is Harold. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
Harry Jowsey.
Harold?
Harold
People
Jowsey.
named Harry it's short for Harold?
Can be. Or Harris. Harrison. I'm going to say it's Harold. Harry Jowsey of Boyfriend Material and Perfect Match for a string of Instagram stories showing them at the stadium and dancing on the field and bar tops. Some great images here. Wow. We love to see the reality TV king and podcasting daddy queen continuing to dominate the nation with this powerful team up with one of the more traditional national sports, baseball. Some would even say it's the oldest of the big sports in America because it is.
Some would say that this is getting a whole new generation to look at baseball.
Maybe.
Our number 2 most important best parasocial play of this week. Host of Trading Secrets podcast and Gore Girl Jason Tartick teamed up this week with girlfriend Kat Stickler for an elaborate 2-part joint partnership Instagram reel with Swiffer, the cleaning product. In the 2 videos, Tartick plays himself, a man going to his partner's hometown to meet the family. Stickler dresses as and imitates all members of her own family meeting Jason. It invokes a meeting of the family on a hometown date, complete with Bachelor's trademarked flower, roses. 12.6K likes, 500K views on the first video. Part 2 got 39.7K likes, 1.5 million views on Instagram.
Man. That couple is going to do gigantic things. Gigantic things. They are coming from 2 separate kind of businesses that they've each built on the back of their own fame. And I'm sure they're talking about what can we do together. Both of these people are like astounding in the business of social media. And I just think they're going to
think about what Jason Tartick did for Bristow during Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, I know.
He made all those videos. They had Pinot and Ramen. They had like all these inspirational things. They all went viral. They were amazing and helped her win the Mirror Ball.
Yes, I know. I think they're going to put together some kind of a big podcasting or social media company in the very near future that's just going to eclipse anything we've ever seen. Time will tell. But let's move on now to our number 1 Parasocial Play of the Week. All these were strong plays, but there can be only one winner. Our Parasocial Play of the Week goes to a joint Nashville Sliders Parasocial Play between the one true GOAT, Caitlin Bristow. If you don't know, Lizzie writes all the Parasocial plays, and I write all the news. So in the news, Nick Viall's the greatest player, and then in the Parasocial plays, Caitlin Bristow becomes the greatest player.
That's canon.
Yeah, that is. Between the one true GOAT, Caitlin Bristow, and Parasocial powerhouse Christina Mandrell, amidst Bachelor Nation buzzing about drama surrounding Bristow's ex Jason Tartick going public with his new girlfriend, TikToker Kat Stickler, the pair contributed a beautiful offering with the caption, quote, "Rage? Never heard of her." In an Instagram reel, this new dynamic duo talked to Cam about how they're feeling. Caitlin Bristow says, "I feel really light." We then cut to them smashing stuff in a rage room to the Limp Bizkit song Break Stuff with the repeat chorus line. It's all about the he said, she said bullshit. 626K views.
I loved this. Bristow had recently revealed that her relationship with ex-fiancé Jason Tartick suffered due to his unexpected shift from his banking career to becoming an influencer, which she initially hoped he would avoid. The career change also led to Bristow feeling resentment and betrayal as she felt her feelings and requests were overlooked, especially when Tartick pursued podcasting despite her reservations, as she had her own podcast, Off the Vine. Their relationship, which began in 2019 and included an engagement in 2021, ended in July 2023. We love to see the strong parasocial plays made by both of these exes and wish them the best in their separate influencer careers going forward.
And we have one more parasocial play to get to. This one not from a human being, but from a creature. We saw Ruby graduated this week. This is a strong runner-up. Ruby is, of course, Dear Shandy's creature, and there is a great post of Ruby with Ruby's little graduation certificate.
A little graduation. hat tot. So
being
cute.
held by the two members of Dear Shandy. God damn, that's
Any other
cute.
week, that's the winner.
Yes. But instead this week, Michelle Young and her boyfriend and their dog, with her boyfriend Jack, and their dog Chief, made a post that was our Parasocial Creature of the Week. In this reel, I don't even know how to describe it. The boyfriend Jack is standing there. Michelle Young runs from screen left and kind of does a side body double ankle lock hooju. Then Chief, the dog, runs to complete the other side of a hooju
and he's holding both of them.
Triumvirate hooju. He's double anchoring. It's unbelievable.
How do you even shoot this?
That I don't
understand.
Got to get a fourth person.
How many takes?
Or a third person, I guess. The dog's not a person. Is to me. At any rate, this was our Parasocial Creature of the Week. Congrats, Chief. Congrats, Michelle Young. Congrats, Jack, the boyfriend. We'll be keeping close tabs on Chief to see if Chief performs any more hoojus in their parasocial career. Now, we move on to the final portion of our program in which Pacecase and I dive off the top lip of the pit into the murky waters below and issue forth our screams about how I don't even want to call it fandom at this point. I feel like this is an academic pursuit that has taken over my persona. So I'm going to call it about how our academic pursuits,
a lifestyle,
the study of reality television as religious doctrine almost, how that has drastically affected our life. This is
Screams from the Pit!
As my first scream since my very important vacation, I think you know what this one's going to be about.
Yeah.
This is a scream of gratitude to the pit.
Oh.
Because I recently got engaged on the same island where Love Island has been filmed, where Colton Underwood had a date. Very important reality TV island, it turned out. And The Bachelor has been intertwined with a lot of my big life moments since I was 12 years old, but very much so since you and I started doing this podcast.
Okay.
And I posted an image of the engagement on Instagram and the hard launch of the engagement, if you will. And, I'm starting to think about, wedding planning, etc. And I just want to read a couple of these comments on the post.
Please.
Courtney, congratulations. This is Courtney Robertson, ring winner of Ben Flaginick's season and host of the incredible podcast
After Reality with Courtney
After Reality with Courtney Robertson. The host of the incredible podcast After Reality with Courtney Robertson said, congratulations, so opto 2024. Champagne glass, cheers emoji, cheers to a lifetime of happiness and palapas. Cute. Someone, OMG, did you have to walk a path of pain? So happy for you, you deserve the best. Thank you. And in answer to your question, yes, I did walk a path of pain. We hiked down to that beach and I had to hike back up.
That's terrible.
Lots of comments about sparklers. Katie Thurston, sparkler alert, sparkle emoji. And then one of my favorites, tearing every fairy tale to shreds.
Ooh.
And I was just going through these comments. I was just laughing my ass off.
Yeah.
And also my scream is that I was just like, what are like the people from my high school or something thinking when they're just reading all this nonsense?
All this nonsense.
Sparkler.
But there's also like in your moment of engagement, let's take you back to your 12-year-old self. Did you ever in your wildest fantasies imagine that a ring winner and a bachelorette would be commenting? Well, 12 years old, you don't even know what Instagram is, but did you ever imagine that
Idiot.
it didn't exist? I don't think, right? No, it didn't exist yet. 10 years prior.
Should have guessed it.
Yeah, you should have predicted. But could you have ever predicted that you would have luminaries from the nation commenting on your engagement posts?
No. And I started thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, how many Bachelor people am I going to invite to the wedding? And
Right.
like
All of them.
all of them.
You invite everyone who's ever been in our beloved game. You just see who
Anyone
shows
who
up.
commented on that Instagram post.
Yeah.
No, it was just like, it was it's been a very happy time for me.
Sure.
And I was made even happier by seeing everyone being happy for me and also kind of semi-roasting me, just like saying all these like words and stuff. I really liked it.
Roasting with words, yeah. No, it's fantastic. I love that our fandom and continued kind of exploration of reality TV, again, I think academically, has gotten us into these strange situations where we know some of the people in the world now, and it's the lines are blurring in a way that I think is very fun.
Very blurred. And there were some suggestions for officiants, including Susan Knowles,
Oh my
Darkler
God.
Palmer, and Bachelor Clues.
No, please don't have me do it. But you can 100% get Susan Knowles, I bet.
I'll help your record, Susan.
Yeah.
I'll help take back that record that was tarnished by Gary.
I mean, she does it as a job, right? I think it's probably just a matter
Yeah.
of booking her.
like she has to do each one that books.
No, I mean, I'm sure she makes her choices, but like, if you're willing to fly her to
She would
wherever
do
the
it.
wedding is, I bet she would do it and pay her whatever her rate is. I bet she would do it.
Honey, remember the Golden Bachelor?
You know, look, if you want that to be done,
I really want Luca, my dog, to officiate the wedding, but I don't know how.
I'm just saying,
I would maybe like record a voiceover over it.
if you want that as a wedding present from me, I will do my best to get Susan Knowles to officiate your wedding. And I think I'll be successful.
This is not a category I've even thought of yet, but I'm glad that the pit has already started brainstorming it for me. The work's already done.
Well, it's a beautiful scream. My scream is also a beautiful one this week. Nothing detrimental about...
Thank you for your offer.
My pleasure. Nothing detrimental about how my life has been completely changed forever by my fandom of reality television in a bad way. Quite the opposite. As all of you know, I played a country song at the beginning of today's show. I'm releasing a country album. But I have also started experimenting with other musical genres. If you follow me on Instagram at Bachelor Clues, you might have seen a few songs and videos I've made using the inspiration of Madison Pruitt's Instagram Reels as foundations for lyrics. I've made 3 such videos. And what I'm doing with that, just to let you know, is not in any way making like... I'm not trying to make an album in that genre exactly yet, but I'm getting some pieces in my head of like how I might move into a more pop or EDM kind of thing.
I love like upbeat pop
Yeah.
EDM. That's like my favorite genre. And that last one you did,
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you. I've been singing around the
Yeah,
house.
I try to make catchy little tunes. But what I'm doing,
very
why
catchy.
I'm using her as my palette, let's say, it's the exact same thing I did when I was teaching myself how to make memes. And I went to Nick Viall's Instagram and just took every one of his posts and turned it into a meme. I'm now using
got
Madison
blocked.
Pruitt. That's how I got blocked. I'm now using Madison Pruitt as my palette to create these little songs because I have something very special planned for season 21 of Bachelorette. And I'm training myself how to use these tools using Madison Pruitt's Instagram Reels. So just rest assured, these will not all be Madison Pruitt, but there will be more songs coming very soon. And that's what those things are about.
Okay. Finally, I can rest.
Finally, you can rest. Thank you. Let's move on. We have one more
I
scream.
like literally, I went on vacation and Clues did not stop working. Made this whole country album. It's very impressive.
I don't really ever stop
You have a
working
beautiful
because
mind.
if I do, it's like I feel like I'm drowning is the best way to put it. If the stuff in here doesn't get out, it becomes a problem. You know what I mean?
No, I
I'm
don't
pointing
know
to my
what you
head
mean,
when I
but
say in here,
yes.
by the way. It builds up and then you're underwater of it all and you have to figure out which things to start discarding to make room for the new stuff.
But you have to listen. Can't you have some overarching like person who's in charge of all that stuff and be like, shh, it's okay, we're resting.
Person who's in charge of it, it's like a hurricane. Who's in charge of the hurricane? No one. You just are like, you live in it or you die in it. That's my
Okay.
brain basically.
The hurricane. Oh,
Yeah,
Lord.
I don't know. It has benefits and it also does not have benefits. Now let's move on to our
Yeah,
final.
I bet.
I just start crying.
Yeah. Look, there's definitely benefits. Okay, there's benefits.
There are, but there's also detriments. However, one of these benefits is that we now get people sending us their screams as well. And if you would like to send us your scream to potentially be played right here on This Week in Bachelor Nation, all you got to do is go to patreon.com/gameofroses. Join us in the bottom of the pit. You get access to our Discord where you can upload your screams into a channel called Screams from the Pit. And we pick and play the best ones here. Are you ready, Pacecase, for our scream from this week?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Hi, Pit. My scream is about my daughter, who is now 5 months old. My husband and I, being deep in the pit, easily decided to name our daughter after Alessi, the oldest daughter of my favorite bachelor, Ari. Ari's season was the first Bachelor season I ever watched, and we all know the star his Alessi will be one day. So naming our daughter the adorable name Alessi seemed like a no-brainer. Plus, I now have the ability to pull anyone into the pit at any time when they ask about her name. What I feel is more of a scream, though, is that I just now realize naming her Alessi is a scream a year after choosing her name. Praise be.
I have full body chills. That's a
too.
level 3 scream.
It's
Or 1.
whatever
It's
the
whatever the top
deepest
level
level.
is,
Yeah.
the deepest level, the top level.
At some point, we need to make a chart of
Holy
the pit levels,
Lord.
but this is at the deepest part of it for sure. I love it as well. I just love it. This is very similar to like how the Iaconettis, Jared and Ashley, named their child with Tom Brady's name in his name.
Mm-hmm.
It is a respect. It is an acknowledgement of your love of this game, specifically a player in this case, specifically a child of a player in this case. But I absolutely love this. I also like the name Alessi, by the way. I think
Alessi's
it's a
a great
fantastic
name.
name.
I agree.
The secondary ability to then use that to drag literally anyone to the pit. You're on a play date. Your kid is going to their first day of school. Like literally
I
anything.
didn't even think of that.
Yeah, every time you encounter new parents who are meeting your kid
can
for the
talk about
first
the
time,
Bachelor.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh, Alessi, that's a unique name. Where is that like a family name? Yes. I'm related to the Lion Dykes
I
through
know.
fandom.
I'm trying to picture that kid being like, "Oh, how are you named? Oh,
Yeah. I was named after somebody who
kind of
had
like-
50,000 Instagram followers when they were a fetus.
yeah, a star child."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was named after both of my grandmas, and I think my sister was named after like a random person, like a
nice.
neighbor or something.
I was named after no one. I don't even know where they got the name Chad.
You don't know where they got the name?
No, they were just like rolling dice or
Okay,
something,
that's your
throwing
homework.
darts.
You got to find out.
They don't
I'm
know.
sure
I've
it has a
asked them.
meaning.
They're like, I don't know. We
They
just thought
don't
it
know?
sounded good. Yeah, they didn't care.
She don't know.
Yeah, that's life.
Well, Alessi, little baby Alessi, I hope that you rise to be a star just like your namesake.
I do too. And thank you so much for submitting your scream. Again, if anybody else out there wants to submit their screams, just head to Patreon,
Good luck
join our
beating this
Discord.
one.
Yeah, this
Good
is
luck.
this is one of the best screams I've literally ever heard.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
so
this isn't the Mount Rushmore.
to name your child after. I guess it's a child of a player. It's such a deep fandom and acknowledgement that, like, yes, I love this thing so much, I will make it a part of my life forever, and the life of my child forever.
I went through this trying to name Luca, and I thought of a couple Bachelor names, you know, like Huju or like something cute
right.
like that, and I was like, no, I can't do this. I have to give him a serious name. That's
Yeah.
the soccer player that I once was a fan of.
To beat this scream, it's going to require somebody having a child and naming them PTC or IFI or something like that.
Yeah, Jesse Palmer.
First, middle, and last name, whatever Jesse Palmer's middle name is.
Yeah.
Francois, I don't know.
Francois, probably.
Probably is. At any rate, thank you everyone for joining us today for This Week in Bachelor Nation. We hope you have had a great time here. We will be back, of course, every Tuesday, every Friday with brand new episodes. Next Tuesday is going to be the second half of Jenn Tran's Guys. We're going to be going through their Instagrams, breaking it all down, giving you our predictions about who we think is going to go far, who we think is going to be night one, et cetera, et cetera. And then it's just...
And those episodes are on YouTube.
All of these are. If you're listening to this now, go to
All of them.
YouTube. This is also on YouTube. You can see us in living color,
Doing
as
face
they say.
plays.
Doing face plays and all kinds of stuff. I have some
When
shelves
Chad
behind
is
me that
pointing to his head, you'll
Yeah.
know what he's talking about.
I'm slowly filling in some shelves behind me as I built out my little podcast studio here in my home. And you can see there are some artifacts behind me right now if you're looking on YouTube.
I see the little Tyler Cameron pillow peeking out.
My Tyler Cameron pillow's up there.
It's beautiful.
There's also a
He's
baseball
like, I
over
built
here.
this.
That was
That's what he says to me.
this.
I built this bookshelf.
Well, I mean, technically, but I didn't create it. I just had to take it out of a box and build it. But
No, I meant Tyler is saying that
oh, I see what you're saying.
because he's in his little construction outfit.
Yeah, that was a pillow we got at the Tyler Cameron release party for his show Going Home. I also have a baseball that was given to Braden Bowers on a one-on-one date with Charity Lawson during her show, during her season. I have that. I have a vial of water from the pool at Villa de la Vina, the now defunct Bachelor Mansion. We don't know if they're ever going back. Jenn Tran season, they're not. I've got a Golden Bachelor standee that I stole from one of their pop-up events out here in Mel's Diner. I just took it right off the table and walked out with it under my shoulder. And I've got some other artifacts, books, what have you. And I'll be filling in the shelves a little more as things go. I have to get an item framed, and I'll be very happy once that's framed to display it on these shelves as well, and I will show you all about that.
Ooh, stay tuned.
I'll simply say it is an artifact from the game, touched by gods of the game. I'll simply say that. At any rate, thank you for joining us. And before we go, as always, Pacecase, what's that drawback?
It's academic. It's academic.
It is.
It's been 8,131 days without an Asian bachelor. Praise be Dark Lord Jesse Palmer.
Please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast. Please get a friend to listen to us, and then please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast. Please get a friend to listen to us, and then please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast. Please get a friend to listen to us, and then